Aristotle's Guide to the Good Life, Happiness as a Practice. Hello and welcome back to Carefree Sloth. Today we're going to slow down with someone who lived more than 2,000 years ago, but still has one of the clearest, most practical answers to a question we all struggle with. What is a good life? And how do I actually live it? His name is Aristotle. Now, you might hear Aristotle and instantly think of dusty books, complicated logic, and difficult academic philosophy. But in this video, I want to show you a very different Aristotle. A teacher who believed that happiness is not a lucky mood, but a daily practice. So, make yourself comfortable. Take a breath. Let's explore Aristotle's Guide to the Good Life. Not as a history lesson, but as a set of gentle, practical tools for how you and I might live a little more wisely today. 1. Aristotle's world, and why he still matters. Let's start with a bit of context. Aristotle lived in ancient Greece in the 4th century BCE. He studied in Plato's academy, tutored Alexander the Great, and spent a lot of his life observing people, animals, politics, and asking big questions like, what makes a human life go well? What does it mean to flourish? Is happiness just about pleasure? Or something deeper? The answers he gave are collected in a book we now call the Nicomachean Ethics. And here's the important part. He didn't think philosophy was just about clever ideas. For him, philosophy was about how to live. He wanted to know, how can an ordinary person wake up in the morning, make choices throughout the day, and go to bed at night, feeling that their life is meaningful, even if it's not perfect? This is why Aristotle still matters. He is not offering a quick, feel-good hack. He's inviting us into a lifetime practice. 2. Happiness is not a feeling, but a way of living. When we say happiness today, we usually mean a feeling. Feeling excited, feeling satisfied, feeling relaxed or joyful. But Aristotle uses a different word, Eudaimonia. It's often translated as happiness, but it's closer to flourishing, living well, a life that is deeply worth living. For Aristotle, this is not just a passing emotion. You can have a good day and still be living badly. You can also have a painful day and still be living well. So he asks, what does a whole life look like when it's going well? His answer is simple but challenging. A good life is a life lived in accordance with virtue over the long run. What does that mean? It means living with courage when life is scary, with self-control when you're tempted, with justice when you deal with others, with generosity when you have enough, with kindness and honesty in relationships. And a person who practices these traits again and again, not perfectly, but steadily, ends up with a life that is deeply, quietly meaningful. For Aristotle, that is happiness. Not a constant high, not a perfect Instagram story, but a life in which you are more and more aligned with your best self. 3. What makes humans different? Aristotle's function idea. Aristotle has a very interesting way of explaining all this. He asks, every tool has a function. What is the function of a human being? A knife's function is to cut. A flute's function is to make music. A good knife is one that cuts well. A good flute is one that plays well. So what is the thing that humans do especially well? Aristotle says, our unique function is not just eating, sleeping, or moving. Animals do that too. What makes us unique is our ability to reason and to live by reason. In simple words, we can step back and think about our actions. We can ask, is this wise? Is this fair? We can notice our impulses and choose how to respond. So, a good human life is one where we use this capacity well. We live reasonably, with virtue, over a long period of time. That, for Aristotle, is the good life. And here's where it gets practical. He doesn't say, you have to be a genius. He doesn't say, you have to eliminate all emotions. He's simply saying, use your capacity to think and reflect, to shape your habits, so that over time, you become a wise and good person. 4. Virtue is a habit, not a magic talent. Now, let's talk about this word, virtue. It can sound moralistic or old-fashioned. But in Aristotle's world, virtue is basically a good habit of the soul. He would say, we become just by doing just acts. We become brave by doing brave acts. We become self-controlled by practicing self-control. In other words, virtue is not something you're born with or born without. It's something you practice until it becomes part of you. Think of playing the piano. No one is born a great pianist. You practice scales. You get things wrong. You keep going. One day, what used to be awkward starts to feel natural. Aristotle says, character works the same way. At first, doing the right thing feels hard, unnatural, uncomfortable. But if you practice, little by little, it becomes who you are. So if you sometimes think, I'm just not a patient person, I'm just not brave, that's not my personality, Aristotle would gently disagree. He would say, you are what you repeatedly do. Start practicing, and over time, you can become different. That's a very hopeful thought. You are not frozen. You are trainable. 5. The middle way. Too much, too little, just right. One of Aristotle's most famous ideas is that virtue is a kind of middle between two extremes. He calls it the doctrine of the mean. Let's take courage. Too little courage? You become cowardly. You always avoid risk, even when you should stand up. Too much courage? You become reckless. You rush into danger for no good reason. Real courage is in the middle. Feeling fear, but still doing the right thing for a good reason. Another example, generosity. Too little giving? Stinginess. You hold on to everything. Too much giving? Without wisdom? Wastefulness. You give away so much that you harm yourself or others. True generosity is in the middle. You give appropriately, at the right time, to the right people, in the right way. This middle is not an exact mathematical center. It depends on the situation, your abilities, and what's truly wise. But the principle is simple. Virtue is not about extremes. It's about balanced excellence. Think about your own life. Are there areas where you tend to go to extremes? Do you swing between overworking and doing nothing, oversharing and shutting down, overpleasing and withdrawing? Aristotle invites us to ask, what would the healthy middle look like for me here? And then, to practice that middle again and again. 6. Practical wisdom, knowing what to do, when, and how. Aristotle knows that life is complicated. There is no one rule you can apply to every situation. So he introduces another key idea. Practical wisdom, also called phronesis. If virtue is like having good habits and good desires, then practical wisdom is like having a good inner navigator. It's the ability to say, in this situation, what is truly the right thing to do? How much is enough? Who will this affect? What is kind, fair, and reasonable here? Practical wisdom is not something you get by reading one book. You build it by reflecting on your experiences, learning from mistakes, listening to wise people, and asking better questions. It's like developing taste. Over time, you get a feeling for what kind of action will lead to a good life for you and for others. So when Aristotle says, the good life is a life in accordance with reason, he doesn't mean cold, abstract logic. He means a life guided by warm, human, down-to-earth, practical wisdom. A life where your head and heart are learning to work together. 7. Happiness needs others, friendship and community. Now, Here is something very important. Aristotle does not think you can live a good life all by yourself. He famously wrote, "Humans are political animals." By this, he doesn't mean we all love elections. He means we are made to live in community. We need friends, family, neighbors, and some kind of shared world. And he thinks friendship is one of the highest goods in life. He talks about different kinds of friendship. Friendships of use. We're helpful to each other. Friendships of pleasure. We enjoy each other's company. And the highest? Friendships of virtue. In a friendship of virtue, you care about the good of the other, not just what you can get. You help each other become better. You admire the other person's character, not just their fun or usefulness. Aristotle says, a truly happy life includes this kind of deep friendship. So if you ever feel guilty for needing people, Aristotle would say, of course you need people. You're human. Happiness is not a private possession you guard all alone. It's something that grows in the space between us, in shared conversations, support, and care. 8. External things. Money, health, luck. Do they matter? At this point, you might be wondering, okay, virtue, wisdom, friendship. But what about money, health, and all those external things? Aristotle is very realistic. He says, yes, external goods matter. It's hard to live well. If you are starving, it's hard to focus on virtue. If you have no shelter, or if your body is in constant extreme pain. So he doesn't pretend. That character is enough for a perfect life. He admits that good fortune helps. At the same time, he's clear. External things are not the core of happiness. They are more like tools and conditions. What really shapes the quality of your life is the way you use those tools. Two people with the same wealth can live very different lives. One selfish and empty, the other generous and meaningful. Two people with the same illness can live differently. One bitter and closed, the other somehow still kind and deeply courageous. Aristotle's view gives us a balanced way of thinking. Yes, our circumstances matter, but our character and choices decide what kind of story those circumstances become. 9. Happiness as a practice, a daily Aristotelian routine. Now let's bring this down to the level of your day. How can Aristotle's ideas shape the way you live? Today, tomorrow, this week? Let's imagine a simple Aristotelian-inspired routine. Morning, set your direction. When you wake up, instead of instantly grabbing your phone, take a few moments. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Which one virtue do I want to practice a bit more today? Maybe it's patience, courage, kindness, honesty, or self-control. You don't have to be perfect. You're just choosing a direction. You might say to yourself, today, I will try to be a little more patient in my conversations. Or, today, I will try to be honest but gentle when I speak. This is how Aristotle would suggest you begin to shape your habits. Daytime. Look for the middle way moments. As you go through your day, there will be small decisions. Do I speak up or stay silent? Do I say yes or no? Do I react quickly or take a breath first? You can practice looking for the middle way. Not total avoidance, not aggressive attack, but a balanced, reasonable response. For example, instead of ignoring a problem too little or exploding in anger too much, you could practice a calm, firm conversation. These small choices are where your character is built. You don't need big, dramatic moments. You just need repeated practice. Evening. Reflect without beating yourself up. At night, before you sleep, take a few minutes. Ask, where did I live? Close to my values today? Where did I fall short? What did I learn about myself? If you notice moments you're not proud of, you don't have to attack yourself. Aristotle would say, notice, learn, adjust, then try again tomorrow. You might write down, today, I got angry quickly in this situation. Next time, I want to pause first. Today, I showed courage. By having a difficult conversation, I'm glad I did that. This simple rhythm. Set your direction in the morning. Practice balanced action during the day. Reflect and learn at night. Is how happiness becomes not a wish, but a daily practice. 10. Aristotle's good life in a modern world. We might ask, can Aristotle really help us? In a world of smartphones, social media, and constant busyness? I think the answer is yes, maybe even more now than ever. Because our world makes it easy to chase short-term pleasure, get lost in comparison, react without thinking, and live on autopilot. Aristotle invites us to do the opposite. He says, slow down. Ask what kind of person you are becoming. Practice the habits that support a flourishing life. In a culture that says, "You are what you own. You are what you look like. You are your success," Aristotle quietly whispers, "You are what you repeatedly do." A good life is built, choice by choice. That's a very empowering message. It means that even if your life is not perfect, even if you don't have the wealth, status, or beauty that society worships, you can still live a deeply good life through virtue, wisdom, friendship, and steady practice. Closing, an invitation to practice happiness. If you're still here with me, thank you. Please consider subscribing to this channel, Carefree Sloth. Here, we take wisdom from philosophers, poets, spiritual teachers, and great minds from East and West. In the comments, I'd love to hear from you. For now, thank you for sharing this time with me. May your days be guided by wisdom, your choices shaped by virtue, and your happiness become a quiet, steady practice.